Okay, take two. Sorry about that. I totally thought I was actually in my VIP group, and I was like, they're free to hear this story, but in the same sense, we try to keep the main thing on the page. So now that I know I'm on my personal profile, let's get back to it. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of scrub out with y'all, just grab out here comfy cozy. I was gonna come live a couple nights ago, just with some raw realness, if you'll let me, right? But then I got put back into Facebook jail and whatever, such as living in a censored world. So I couldn't post, I couldn't go live, I couldn't comment, I couldn't I couldn't do anything. But I actually want to be real raw with you tonight. So first and foremost, I hope you know I do not jump on these lives and be anybody but myself. And what I mean by that is I think that the world is full of drama, full of just not fun things to hear about. And so I don't come on Facebook to complain. I don't come on Facebook to air my dirty laundry. I don't come on Facebook with doom and gloom. Now, am I happy to wake anybody who is welcome to ask or even open to asking questions? Yes, absolutely. But I am not one who is just going to kind of come up here and give you my junk if there is no purpose. So don't think that if you saw my post, I have been any type of inauthentic with you. I really, truly pride myself on the fact that I want to be authentic, not because I have everything together and perfect. Nope, not at all. But because I know that when I come on this platform, I'm in a good space. I have something purposeful to share, and I want to bring value to whoever takes the time, the energy, and the effort to join me. With that said, I have had, and I'm really going to try so hard not to get too emotional, but I'm also not scared of emotion. Okay. So if it comes out, that's just how I am going to share my story, and you're here for it. Otherwise, you obviously could go elsewhere. So at the end of 2019, I had hit a really dark place. I loved what I did professionally, like that always gives me life, but my home life was dark. Now you're sitting there going, like, you just told us all about your man and like how you guys are so good. Oh yeah, that'll come into play. Okay, it actually had nothing to do with my marriage. It had everything to do with one of the most important roles, of which I am the mother of 4 smalls. So I actually reached out to an incredible, you guys, if you ever have the opportunity to work with this coach. Her name's Tamara. She's awesome. I can tag you. I can't even tell you, but let's continue. So she had helped me previously, and she's on, that's convenient. And she had helped me previously just to up level my business game, right? And that was awesome. But I actually reached out to her and I said, I actually need you for a different reason. I'm in one of my darkest places I've ever been, and I'm the type of person who refuses to stay there. Friends, emotions are real, seasons are real, but never buy into the lie that if you are down, you have to stay down. Okay? That is the lie from the pit of hell. That is the enemy up in your head. If you are constantly condemning yourself, if you are constantly in this state of darkness, that is not of God. And so I knew I didn't like where I was, and I certainly didn't want to be there a long time. So we worked together. Oh my goodness, the tools, the tips, the tricks, the amazingness of working with her was such a gift to me. The way she had me start tucking in my kids and praying over them by name. I can't even tell you how life-changing it was for just the dark season of motherhood that I was in. And the interesting thing is I didn't really feel like it was PTSD because PTSD. You guys, it's not PTSD to have a child. Postpartum, not PTSD. I'm so sorry about that slip up. But I really didn't feel like it was postpartum. Because at this time in 2019, my twins were about, 3.5, maybe on their way to 4, 3.5. And so I really hadn't struggled with postpartum with any other child. I certainly had helped friends or even customers go through postpartum. It wasn't foreign to me, but it wasn't like it was postpartum. It was just like I don't know. Like, I can't explain to you how dark it was and how much I didn't want to be a mom anymore. And yet I looked at these 4 little people who relied on me and loved me so much. What do they say? They say, look into your child's eyes and recognize that you'll never be loved like that again. That's such truth, but I couldn't even be present there because, like I said, there was so much darkness. I knew I was a good mom. I knew I'm constantly reading and researching and being their best advocate. I know I do motherhood well. Am I perfect? No. But I know I work my darndest and I do my hardest and my best, and I am their biggest fan and their best advocate. But something was so dark. It was too much. It was almost just like I didn't know how to get out. And so she helped me just start to get out. And that was such a blessing. Like, I can't even tell you. We were making strides. Okay? And then COVID hit. Now, if you have been here at all, in fact, I kind of just want to share every memory that comes up from over the last year because I've been loud. I've been loud for 12 months. I just wasn't buying the narrative. I wasn't buying the fact that we had to give up all these things for what? Okay, so let's not go into that, but let's go back into, I had just started to emerge from this dark season. And then everything that was our lives got ripped from us. My kids loved their friends and they couldn't go to school anymore. Now it was online. My twins had this amazing program that they were a part of for preschool that they loved. That was ripped from them. I obviously travel a lot. I love what I do. And yes, I can still help you with natural solutions. Yes, I can help be your best advocate for your healthiest version of yourself. Yes. But I love going places. I love seeing you. I love touching knee to knee. I love oiling you or blessing your life or making you smell good, if that's the only thing. And all of that ceased. And so now I'm in this new weirdness of like, calling what is happening, losing my mind that people are falling for it, and yet now I'm at home with the 4 who I just learned to re-love. Like actually re-love, not because I stopped loving. Maybe re-enjoy is better. Re-enjoy. I had come out of this darkness where I could finally re-enjoy my kids. And then it was just like 24/7. It was 24/7. Every day looked the same. Yeah, you have your people, which I'm grateful for, but did anybody else feel like their circles just completely shrunk? Like your circles just shrunk. And it was like, okay, well, I know that person's my person, but they're like states away, and I know that person's my person, and well, I have maybe like 5 of my people in this town because everybody else has lost their God-given minds. And so it was just like this dark. And here is the interesting thing, is there were so many times that I literally thought to myself, and I seriously looked at my man so many times and I said, if I did not have you, I would be gone. There was something so, I don't know, like I knew that I loved him so much that I could never desert him. I knew that I loved him so much that I could never just leave him. So even if I couldn't look at my 4, I mean, it hurt. It's hard for me to be this raw with you because if you're a mom, you know you love those kids more than life itself, right? That's not what it's about. I love those kids. I will be their biggest fan and their best advocate every day of my life. But the enjoyment, right? Like the actual, like looking at my babies and being like, I'm so blessed to be your mama. Like that wasn't there. And so I remember so many times I would just look at him and I would be like, if you were not here, if I did not have you, I would be gone. And obviously I don't think I actually would be gone because I know my responsibility, and obviously I'm not one who quits, but I'm saying that was the mental, like that was what was going on. And so anyways, little did I know, obviously, he was praying for me. I didn't know that, but it came out probably like a week or 2 ago where he was just like, I love to see that like you're just better, like you're doing better. And the thing about me is that I have to live my life with purpose and intention. And so if I don't have purpose and intention, then like, what is there to get after? Right? So obviously I know that I have purpose and I want to have intention in my motherhood, but again, the enjoyment was not there. The dark hole was real. Okay. Now my marriage I enjoyed and I was grateful for that. My career was like slipping through my fingers because I couldn't do what I loved. Right. And so I'm thinking about this like super dark season, and my husband was just like, I just prayed for you. I just prayed that you would come out of it however you need to come out of it, and the Lord would speak to you. And it's really interesting because I'm reading this book. It's so good, you guys. It's called Creating a Habitation for God's Glory, Becoming a Resting Place for the Power and Presence of the Holy Spirit. And I'm reading it, and don't get me wrong, I have a whole nother life. Like, I feel like I try to not blow you guys up every day. And I just kind of like bank them. I'm like, okay, I'll bank that. But anyways, so I have a whole nother life that I want to talk about, but that is not tonight's. And I'm reading through this book and I'm loving it. I'm loving the nuggets. I'm loving the goodness. I'm loving the solid, right? Like I love it. And then I get to this chapter. It's about in the middle of the book. And it says, the first chapter is, I'm afraid of the dark. And then the next chapter says, sorry, I'm flipping through it, says, I think I bumped into God. That doesn't really have much anything to do with my topic, but I want to talk about this aspect of the dark. And this, I have to just read it to you because I'm just going to read it to you. Darkness is necessary, and some of us need darkness more than we need light. Poet May Sarton wrote, without darkness, nothing comes to birth, and without light, nothing flowers. Think about the significance darkness has in the world. A diamond is forged in the deep recesses of the earth in total darkness. The pressure it experiences in complete obscurity is what makes it the most beautiful gem in the world. A small embryo is conceived, and for 9 delicate months, it abides in the darkness of the mother's womb. For 3 trimesters, 40 weeks, the child will not see the light. In the dark, God grows and matures the baby and prepares the child for the world. A caterpillar enters a cocoon for a season of transformative agony and darkness, and in due time it emerges to spread its wings and paint the sky with its brilliant colors. A seed produces fruit after being covered with the earth. While alone in the ground, the seed dies and completely surrenders to the germination process. In a short while, the seed becomes a plant and yields fruit for people to enjoy. But as long as a seed remains in the light above ground, it cannot produce a harvest. Jesus said in John 12:24, most assuredly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain. If a seed isn't planted deep enough, it could dry up and wither due to the surface's heat and therefore cannot fulfill its assignment. I love photography. Without a doubt, it is my favorite form of art. A photograph captures an instant, a significant event, a person or landscape of some sort, and forever seals a precise second of time. Photographs allow us to look back at a season of our life and remember the moment. It is a small window of history that would have been nothing more than a fading memory. While most people today use digital cameras, many photographers still use film to capture images. The photos on film are taken in the light, but they are developed in the dark. While developing the film, if the film is exposed to light too soon, the photograph will be ruined. The film has to stay in the dark until the image is fully developed. The dark has value. So I'm reading this, and of course, there's way more than what I just read you. But I'm reading this chapter about the dark and like how the Lord uses the dark seasons and how he can form you there, right? It's almost like you're knocking on heaven's door constantly, like just begging for some type of answer, and he just isn't ready to give it to you yet, and or you're not allowing for the lesson, and so you just have to keep learning the lesson until you actually learn the lesson and graduate, right? And so I'm reading these chapters and I'm like, Lord, like, Did we have to go through so much darkness so that I could die to myself a little more, right? But also coming out of the darkness brings so much clarity. It brings so much clarity. And it was so funny because I was telling Nordstrom, I feel like the last 12 months just like prepped me to say whatever it is I need to say. And I don't mean that in the way that I am frivolous or careless with my words. I wish you knew how many times I edit and re-edit and then actually post because I do. I want to live with purpose and intention. I want to bring value to anybody who comes across any lives or posts or content. I want to make sure that I'm always allowing for you to be the own user of your brain, the own voice of your person, the own just embodiment of what's happening and what you're being called to in this moment. Right? Like my purpose is never to show up and be like, ooh, let's create 100,000 Ambers. That would be so awesome. No, it wouldn't. What are your strengths? What are your gifts? What are your talents? What do you need clarity on? Where do you want to stand in your power? Where do you want to recognize that you have value to give back? I want you to come so alive in you that the world can't help to be attracted to who you are. Not because everybody will, but because I want you to be so bold in yourself that you attract who you should attract and you should absolutely repel who you should repel. Like, I'm not interested in attracting all 7 billion people. I just am not. I'm interested in speaking what is true, and if I'm ever wrong, I will always happily come back and say, which by the way, if you need another political live, we can go there, but I don't know if you guys can handle it. So anyways, like I'm aware, obviously, my predictions were off. The timeline was not the Lord's. Oh, but you just better wait what's coming. Okay. Like I'm still good. Okay, but I digress. So in the darkness, like I'm sitting and I'm like, is that seriously why we had to go through all of this? Because you had to take me so, what do I want to say? Because he's such a good daddy. He's such a good God. But it was such a season that I came to the absolute end of myself. I knew that I needed him to show up. I knew that I needed him to breathe new life. I knew that I needed him to breathe vision and purpose and intention in a fresh manner. Because the old has passed away. And while I know that we all hope we go back to normal, I actually hope we don't go back to what we were. I hope we are freer than ever before. I hope we are bolder than ever before. I hope that you don't mince words anymore. Always be kind and or respectful, but stop mincing words to people, please. There are so many people desperate, looking for some direction, looking to be led, looking for answers, wondering what in the world is going on. We need a whole lot of light in this world. But could it be that we are going through a very dark time? I did personally. I just cried my eyes out to you for a good 10 minutes. I did personally. What if we are as a nation because we have to kill what was so that we can recognize who is? We can bury the expectations and all of the agendas to surrender to his kingdom. That it would come, that it would not only visit, but it would absolutely manifest and find its habitation right here, right now. Because if 2020 taught me anything, it taught me to only get louder in my voice, because those who need a little extra are craving it, and those who aren't open to it aren't my people. And so now I just think it's going to translate into where we're going when it comes to his kingdom. I think that we have, and I'm probably going to shut this down because I have a whole nother live, but it is time we get back to solid truth. It is time we get back to recognizing that there are things that need to be said, and there are absolutely things we cannot shy away from anymore. And so, of course, if you're gonna, pop on my feed and not really know my heart, you wouldn't know that I love you so much that I actually put it all on the line. Like, I truly come from a place of love, not because I have to be your cup of tea, but because I truly believe that if we stand strong and tall in love, but without mincing words, we will be in a great place. Conversing together, helping one another, figuring out who is in a dark place and needs just held in that moment, who is in a great place in the light where they can shine. And so in my darkness, while I did not publicly come here and air all my dirty laundry or what I was processing, I tend to be a pretty internal processor. I certainly had my core of people. I certainly had those who I could reach out and sob with or be real with or just try to figure it out with, right? But in that too, you need to know who you can open up to and be vulnerable with and who can speak life back into you. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you letting me get teary-eyed and my nose start to run. And I just want you to know that if you are in a dark place, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. I can't even tell you how long it felt like I was there. But in the darkness, so much goodness can happen. So trudge through the yuck. Trudge through it, because there will be clarity in the light. There will be amazing new callings and vision and purpose. And so I pray that you aren't in the darkness, but I also don't want us to fear the darkness. I want us to know our people. I want us to know our God. I want us to know that the darkness is not to be feared, but it can be a beautiful place of magic, meaning we can just die to ourselves and start to learn what we're about to recreate or be recreated as. And then we can shine as bright as possible whenever the season of that happens. So recognize where you are, recognize what you need, recognize there is no guilt in that. If it is your season to hone in and be in that solemn space, you should do that. If you're somebody who absolutely knows that you're coming alive and that you are in a space of light, you should do that. Don't rush the darkness. Don't dull your shine. There are seasons for everything. So, bless you all. Thank you so much for your time, your attention. Thanks for letting me be comfy, cozy, all the things, getting real, getting raw. It's needed, right? And if there's anything I can pray specifically for you about, I truly would like to know that. You can message me that. I'm assuming you don't want it in the comments. You can absolutely message me that. So, bless you all. Have an awesome evening and stay tuned because, I'm coming back with some spice and I'm excited about it. Oh, yes, I am.